Now at 5 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, DPS stops a human smuggling attempt in Laredo. 49 migrants were found inside. And Houston police investigating a school bus crash where 10 children and 2 adults were taken to the hospital. And a boy from Georgetown is in recovery after he was attacked with a baseball bat.
Well, here in the Crossroads, we're looking at, of course, lots of sunshine and some fairly warm temperatures. You think by being at the end of summer, we could get a break, but we're continuing in the mid-90s. Now, we will see a few little showers as we get to the weekend. We'll talk about that coming up in a moment.
Republicans working fast to pass a spending bill to avoid a potential government shutdown. You're watching 25 News now at 5. Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. I'm Karina Garcia. James Munoz has the day off. Tuesday, DPS South Texas Region Special Agents stopped a human smuggling attempt in Laredo, where 49 migrants were found inside a commercial trailer. Special agents were quick to remove the migrants who were locked inside a poorly ventilated trailer. The migrants included 44 males and 5 females from Guatemala, Mexico, and Honduras. A scary scene for students on a bus in Houston today. 10 children and 2 adults were taken to the hospital after a Houston SD bus was involved in a crash this morning, causing it to overturn. Police say the crash took place around 6:45 a.m. as the bus was headed to school. 2 additional vehicles were also involved. Those taken to the hospital were transported with minor injuries and are expected to be okay. And now let's take a look at your weather with Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. What you got for us, Mac?
Well, I'm trying to get it to feel a little bit more like fall, but we're not having much luck. You can see how the temperature is again in the mid-90s, 95 for us, 93 down at the coast. I guess we should be grateful they're at least not in the hundreds. There are forecast highs for tomorrow still on the warm side. The only thing you'll change in the next 2-3 days is the amount of humidity in the air, and we'll be talking about that coming up a little bit later on. Karina, back to you.
Mac, thank you. A 6-year-old boy remains in the hospital after being attacked by his own neighbor. Court documents show that he was beaten with a baseball bat.
Week after a neighbor reportedly attacked him with a baseball bat in the boy's Georgetown home. According to a felony complaint against 39-year-old Daniel Logan, a detective was told by medical staff at Dell Children's that, quote, the child suffered multiple fractures to his brain and extensive brain swelling consistent with blunt force trauma. The court documents also stated that, quote, Daniel struck a 6-year-old child in the head with a baseball bat in a manner to where it was used as a deadly weapon. Jeremy and his family live on Rock Mill Loop in Georgetown. Neighbors say it's normally a quiet area. But on September 11th, Logan is also accused of hitting his mother in the face with the baseball bat, cutting her forehead, injuring her eye, and knocking out a tooth. Tonight, she's recovering, and Jeremy's father posted on this GoFundMe account that the 6-year-old is showing signs of improvement. Quote, as of this morning, the doctors are puzzled at the unexpected movements he is showing in all his limbs, as it was not expected.
That neighbor now faces charges of injury to a child and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. 4 more Texas school districts voted last night to join a lawsuit against the Texas Education Agency. KXAS reports Plano, Fort Worth, Hays, and Bastrop ISD voted to join nearly 60 other Texas school districts in the lawsuit. They are protesting changes to the way TEA grades campuses. The lawsuit claims the new accountability ratings will negatively drop their district scores. The districts say the TEA changed its benchmarks after the school year started, not giving them enough time to adjust. Now, if a school district ranks low enough for a long time, the state of Texas can take over. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and presidential candidate revealed his energy agenda in Texas today. His vision for America's energy sectors places an emphasis on unraveling President Biden's efforts to fight climate change. DeSantis would pull the U.S. out of global climate change pacts and end all commitments for the country to cut net greenhouse emissions to zero. He would also approve more pipelines and allow mining and extraction of oil, gas, coal, uranium, and other minerals on federal lands.
As president, I will restore America's energy independence. We will use our energy dominance to deny our enemies revenue. We will bankrupt their ability to threaten America, and we will help our allies become less reliant on our adversary.
He said this plan will result in America not having to rely on what he called hostile nations for its energy needs ever again. He also claimed he would be able to lower gas prices to $2 a gallon by the year 2025. Gas prices have fluctuated consistently under President Biden, at times reaching record highs, which drive inflation. We now turn to the urgent calls for lawmakers on Capitol Hill to broker a deal to avert a government shutdown in less than 2 weeks.
Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy scrambling to corral enough members of his own party to pass several spending bills as the clock ticks towards a potential government shutdown. Deep divisions among House Republicans increasingly threatening what could be one of the largest government shutdowns in U.S. history. That is, if lawmakers are unable to approve new funding for government agencies by September 30th.
It's not September 30th. The game is not over, so we continue to work through it. And I've been at this place many times before, and we're going to solve this problem.
But on Tuesday, House Republicans could not muster the votes to pass their own defense spending bill after 5 hardliners blocked the measure from advancing. Lawmakers now have less than 2 weeks to pass 12 appropriation bills or approve a temporary funding patch called a continuing resolution to keep the federal government running.
I thought the era of continuing resolutions was over.
Ultra-conservative Republican lawmakers remain steadfast in their demands for deeper spending cuts and stricter border policies, both unlikely to pass the Democratic-controlled Senate or be signed into law by President Biden.
The last thing we want to do is go backwards and have a shutdown.
Overnight, the White House sounding the alarm about the financial and emotional hardship a shutdown would cause many Americans, including forcing as many as 4 million government workers, along with military troops and law enforcement agents, to work without pay. Money to fund disaster relief could run low, and 10,000 children would lose access to Head Start.
We're pulling for the Speaker and hoping we can move forward.
And while a shutdown would be devastating, essential government services would continue. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and the U.S. Postal Service would not be impacted. But both Democratic and Republican lawmakers have said they want to avoid a shutdown. In Washington, Faith Abube, ABC News.
Here's your viewer poll this afternoon. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, are you concerned about a potential government shutdown? Yes or no? We want to hear your opinion on this. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And of course, we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 6. Stellantis is laying off nearly 70 employees. The company says the move is due to the impact of the United Auto Workers union strike. They say the layoffs will be temporary and are due to storage constraints, adding they ran out of space to store the parts made at the plant. This is the first layoff announcement by the company. Ford and General Motors already laid off or warned of laying off employees at 2 of their plants because of these targeted strikes. Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. The Port Lavaca City Council approved a new ordinance to remove curfews for juveniles in their monthly meeting. Plus, the Memorial Medical Center celebrated its 10th anniversary last Tuesday. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com. Today was Open House Day inside one of Victoria's well-known care centers. Mary Garcia, director of Affectionate Arms Adult Day Health Care Center, said today was a day for the community to stop by and see what the facility has to offer. She said this week was specifically important for Affectionate Arms to spread the word about what they do and what they need.
We are celebrating all these events because of National Adult Day Healthcare Week. And so we take this opportunity to bring awareness to the community about what we are and the services that we provide.
Garcia says they will end Adult Daycare Services Week with an auction this Saturday on September 23rd from 1 p.m. until 3 p.m. It will take place inside the Affectionate Arms location at 3802 John Stockbauer in, of course, Victoria. 5 beaches in the Crossroads will be a part of this Saturday's Adopt a Beach cleanup. Mongolia Beach at Indianola and Kingfisher Beach at Port O'Connor in Calhoun County will get the cleanup, as well as Palacios in Matagorda County. The Adopt a Beach cleanup runs from 8:30 in the morning until noon this Saturday. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. Straight ahead on 25 News now at 5. An Alabama high school band director was tased and arrested in front of his students after a football game. Also ahead, the homeowner accused of shooting a teenager for entering the wrong house pleads not guilty. Director was tased and arrested after he reportedly hit a police officer after a football game. The story contains video some viewers may find disturbing. The incident took place last Thursday. Body cam video shows police telling band director Johnny Mims his band had to stop playing and leave the field. He said it was the band's last song and continued to direct the performance even when the lights were off. Police say Mims tried to strike an officer, an accusation he has since denied. Mims was charged with disorderly conduct, harassment, and resisting arrest. He is currently on administrative leave, and the teacher union has asked that Mims be allowed to return to work for the officers involved to be accountable as well. The man accused of shooting a black teenager who rang his doorbell on accident pled not guilty today. Andrew Lester was accused of shooting Ralph Yarl, who rang his doorbell by mistake in April. The 17-year-old, who was picking up his younger siblings, went to the wrong address. Lester shot him in the head and in the arm. The teenager survived but is suffering from lingering effects from a traumatic brain injury. The 85-year-old is charged with assault in the first degree and armed criminal action. His trial is set for October 7th of next year. The CDC says cases of the flu are low in the U.S., but flu season typically starts in October. Experts say now is the time to get the flu shot.
It's that time of year again. RSV, COVID-19, and flu, a potential triple threat this fall.
We want to get ahead of it and encourage people to get a flu shot now.
Last flu season, there were at least 27 million flu cases, 300,000 flu hospitalizations, and 19,000 deaths related to flu, while the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that vaccinations reduce the risk of flu hospitalization by about 50%. Fewer than half the country got the flu shot last season. The CDC says September and October are optimal times to be vaccinated.
We're actually expecting that the flu shot that we have available will work very well and be very effective once the flu is in the Northern Hemisphere.
The CDC says the African American and Hispanic communities are at higher risk for serious outcomes from the flu, but have been less likely to get vaccinated. Barriers such as the lack of insurance or transportation and the inability to take off from work are believed to have played a role. State health departments, community health centers, and local pharmacies all have flu shots available. To find one closest to you, the agency says to check getmyflushot.org.
It's a way to just be prepared, knowing that the flu is coming.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
It's been more than a month since deadly wildfires swept across Maui, leaving behind a trail of destruction, leaving 97 people dead. On Tuesday, the University of Hawaii's president surprised nearly 200 high school seniors in Lahaina with a tremendous opportunity. He announced that all of the seniors will receive a full scholarship to the university. Students from the high school were attending classes at a temporary site after the wildfire destroyed their school. Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Cuero Record. The DeWitt County Historical Commission will hold a Lives Remembered presentation September 23rd. And Timothy Pointer seeks Republican nomination for district attorney. Plus, Cuero resident Pat Trevino publishes a new book based on a true story called Burning Faith, Our Lady of Guadalupe Church Fire, Christmas 1948. And now here's Mac.
Thank you very much. Another sunny day over the area, but you're going to feel a little bit more humidity in the next couple of days. 93 right about now. We did manage to get up to 95 this afternoon. I don't know, it's, the last few days of summer and we still can't get out of the 90s. I guess it could be worse. We'll be talking more about what to expect for the weekend and look at our little cool front that's coming in on Monday. All that coming up in just a moment. Well, good afternoon, everybody. For tomorrow being your Friday, well, we've got big games going on in town. We've got the Shiner Comanches and the Ganado Indians at Comanche Stadium. Right now, we're going to call it partly cloudy. There's about a 20% chance of a little shower or two, not even putting it in the forecast because I don't think it'll be enough really to mess you up. The only thing is the winds in the afternoon will peak out at about 10 to 20 miles an hour. Now the wind is good to make it a little cooler, but your game time temperature should be at about 89 degrees, still on the warm side. And then of course at 10 o'clock, Crossroads Football Live, right here, the guys got all the scores from all around the area, so make sure you join in if you can't make it to your particular game. No significant shower activity around the area. What you're seeing right there is AP, is what we call it, anomalous propagation. Basically junk that's being picked up by the radar. After some stormy weather over North Texas last night, as of this afternoon, all of it is finally ending. It's moving out into Louisiana and Arkansas, but they had some pretty big hail out here last night. Big stuff. I don't have any photos of it, but I got reports that we've been talking about. The only place that may get some heavier showers tonight is up here near the Shreveport area, but otherwise things are fairly quiet across the state of Texas. We're just waiting for the transition from summer to winter. What is summer to winter? Well, for me, in the winter, I start looking to the north. When the storms come in the northwest and the fronts start dropping south, that's a good sign that we'll have a little bit of changing weather and a winter weather around here, or at least cooler weather for us. Here's the system that caused that big stuff in Dallas last night. But I want you to look right here over the next couple of days. very interesting development. This is an area of low pressure. It's going to look like a tropical storm, but it's not a tropical storm. Nonetheless, it's going to bring heavy rain and wind and surf conditions to much of the East Coast. And it's going to feel like a tropical storm, and it's going to go right up the East Coast. So they're going to be dealing with that over the next couple of days. These are the observed highs today. Still 102 out in Cotulla, 95 down in Corpus Christi, 93 up in the Dallas area. We take a look at tomorrow, and these temperatures still well into the 90s, but you know, they almost feel cool compared to what we've been through over the last couple of months. All right, what else is going on? Well, we're going to the tropics now. We've got Nigel still out here. It's weakened a little bit, but it's still a category 1. The good news, Nigel's not going to be a problem. Here's that area of low pressure that's going to go right up the, you will be hearing about heavy, probably 5-10-inch rains from that system that is not a tropical storm. What is likely to become a tropical storm is way down here. This is likely to become Ophelia, got about a 70-80% chance, and it will track across the Atlantic. It's going to be around for about a week and a half, but the thing is that right now for sure it's going to be, not for sure, nothing's for sure, but very likely it'll be affecting the Lesser Antilles, then cross up into the southern Atlantic. So we're going to have to watch it for the East Coast. For us, not a problem. It's all pretty much gone as far as we're concerned. Well, temperatures for our area, of course, in the, I wanted to tell you this. Well, you know, we're doing the equinox on Saturday. That means that the sun is now going down. So where is it going? It's going to South America. It's the beginning of their summer, okay? We're going into our winter, they're going into our summer, but they're already in record-breaking temperatures because of the climate problem that we have across the world. So that big bubble of hot air, the dome that we talked about, is dropping down south, and you're going to be hearing stories about their summertime in South America being brutally hot, kind of like what we had to deal with. All right, we're looking at an 81 for a low in Port Lavaca, getting up to 93. Tomorrow in Cuero, getting up to 97. And then for the rest of us, we're looking at just a 20% chance of a shower to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then Monday night is that little tail end of a frontal system. Not much, but it will hopefully give us a little bit better chance for shower activity on Tuesday. That is your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Karina.
Thanks, Matt. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we'll take a look at your stocks. Plus, a new report shows mortgage applications rose last week. Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow dropping 77 points, the S&P 500 losing 42 points, and the Nasdaq down 210 points. Oil down 92 cents, closing at $90.28 a barrel. More people are buying and refinancing their homes despite high interest rates. A new report by the Mortgage Bankers Association shows mortgage rates went up more than 5% between last week and the prior one. Its deputy chief economist notes the jump comes as the 30-year fixed rate edges rack back up. The report is out on the same day as a planned Federal Reserve announcement. A 2023 North American Airport Satisfaction Study was out today. Airports were evaluated by 6 factors. It was terminal facilities, airport arrival and departure, baggage claim, security check, check-in and baggage check, and food, beverage, and retail. Detroit's Metropolitan Wayne County Airport scored the highest. The top 5 were Minneapolis, St. Paul International, Harry Reid International in Las Vegas, Dallas-Fort Worth, and Miami International. The lowest scoring airport was Newark Liberty International in New Jersey. The Texas Tribune has this story. New laws have changed around parking for disabled Texans. You can read this story on crossroadstoday.com. Stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast. Plus, a rare $10,000 bill from the Great Depression sells for thousands of dollars. Plus, here's a look at world news tonight right after 25 News Now at 5.
Tonight, ahead of President Zelensky's trip to D.C., where House Republicans stand on U.S. aid to Ukraine. Plus, how the Fed's decision on interest rates could impact your budget. More Americans turn to the most watched newscast on television. World News Tonight with David Muir.
A rare $10,000 bill dating back to the Great Depression has sold for $480,000. Heritage Auctions says it beat the previous record in 2020. The $10,000 bill was the highest note to ever go into circulation. There was a $100,000 bill, but it was only used to transfer money between Federal Reserve banks. Due to the lack of use, currency in denominations of a $500 or higher were phased out in 1968. Wow.
Can you imagine in the Civil War, they had
A $10,000 bill?
You could buy a couple of states for that, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Who do you think bought it? Maybe a museum?
No, you know those private collectors? And they buy them and they invest them and they sit on them for a year and then they go
resell them?
It's available.
And then they get their money's worth.
For another $100,000.
Yeah, that's what they gotta do. All
Collectors.
Right, well, we got Crossroads Football Live coming up.
Sure, tomorrow we, of course, a big day. Friday in Texas during football season is always huge. And we've got some pretty good weather. Now, I've been talking about the increase of chance of a shower or two, and that is going to be around here on Friday, but I don't think it's going to be anything nearly as strong as what we saw last Friday when several games got called off. So let's just say a 20% for Friday, but 95 is a high temperature. Should be a good day for everybody to get out there.
Alrighty. Thank you, Mac. And thank you for being with us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.